Welcome back to the R5 Championship presented by First Citizens Bank. We put you first. I am Jeremy and I'm sitting here with James.
And we're approaching the halfway point for the season. So let's take a little look back at some of the action over the past 5 rounds.
Round 1 kicked off with a near 5 kilometre super special stage layout at Bushy Park Racetrack. There were 4 time runs over an intricate and challenging course. Stuart Maloney had damaged his Skoda the Sunday before, causing minor panic in the camp, but parts were secured during the week and the car was repaired. He made good use of his freshly repaired Skoda, setting the fastest time on run 1, ahead of his nephew, FIA F3 racer Zane Maloney, who was sharing the second Maloney racing Fabia with his uncle Mark. Jamaica's Jeff Panton was third fastest in his Fiesta, ahead of Mark and former Caribbean karting champion Adam Malalou, sharing his father Andrew's car. Everyone improved their times on run 2, Adam, Malalou and Panton moving ahead of Mark before Zane improved hugely on the third run to take the lead by nearly 3 seconds. While he failed to improve again, that run 3 time was good enough for the overall victory, 1.5 seconds ahead of Stuart, with Mark 3rd, Adam 4th, Panton 5th and Roger Hill improving from 8th on the first run to 6th overall. For Rob Swan, the opening round was one to forget, having arrived on the island the Thursday evening. Coinciding with his Fiesta emerging from the Bridgetown port, he was reunited with the car for some seat time at the circuit on Friday, but Saturday was short-lived. A gearbox problem on the first run left him last, with a rebuild necessary overnight. That closes out round 1, and here are the standings after the first round, leading into round 2 and 3 the next day.
Round 2 saw a return to road rallying for the first time in Barbados since December of 2020, and importantly, a chance for spectators to fill the stage and watch the action live. The doubleheader event ran on the ever-popular Cliff to Society 4.7 kilometre stage. The doubleheader ran first from Society to Cliff, with Panton quickest on the first of 4 runs, nearly half a second up on round 1 winner Stuart Maloney, with Rob Swan 3rd, his Fiesta now boasting a functioning gearbox after Pro Auto Works burned some midnight oil. All 3 were delighted to be ahead of teenager Zane Maloney, but it would not last. Zane would shoot to the top of the times on run 2. Swan improved too, just 1/100th off the youngster, and ahead of Stuart Maloney and Panton for the first time all weekend. All the front runners except Swan improved again on run 3, with Zane moving the target further away with his uncle Stuart now leading the chasing pack. Ahead of Panton, with Swan's second run time still good enough for 4th. The Skodas of Roger Hill and Mark Maloney now completed the top 6, although the latter would slip 1 further place on the final run after contact with a curve a couple of corners from his own home meant an early bar. Also, no further runs for Zane that day, who was sharing the car. With his nephew not registered for points, Stuart Maloney claimed his second maximum score, 1.5 seconds ahead of Panton, with a fraction over 1 second covering 3rd to 5th. Swan, Hill and Malalou, a harbinger of close competition to come.
Round 3 kicked off in the afternoon, now running in the reverse direction from Cliff to Society. With the second Maloney Racing Skoda now sidelined, Stuart would set the pace and claim his 3rd maximum point score over the championship's new opening weekend. Panton was second throughout, also improving steadily, and might have reduced the gap to less than 4 seconds had he not had an off, which required a wheel change and ended his final run. After finishing 5th in Saturday's speed event, then 6th in the first direction on Sunday, Saul Youssef was bang on the pace from the first run in the reverse direction. As Panton eased ahead, a battle for supremacy developed between Youssef and Swan, 100 separating them on the second run, Swan edging ahead on the third by 7/10. A huge effort by Youssef on the final run was rewarded with an improvement of 1.6 seconds, which placed him 3rd, 4/10 behind Panton, and brought him on level points with Roger Hill for equal standings. Swan finished 4th, a 10th ahead of Andrew Malalou, with Hill sitting in 6th. The Fiestas of the Turks and Caicos rally team members Paul Horton and Stan Hartling were further off pace, both suffering from a lack of seat time, caused by the pandemic, in particular the complications that it created for inter-island travel.
Round 4 led us to an unusual setting for these R5 cars, the drag strip. Joining the event hosted by BAD at Bushy Park Racetrack, the R5 Championship cars would line for a no-excuses head-to-head battle on the strip. For most of the R5 competitors, drag racing was a new experience, so the outcome would be difficult to predict, not least as there was a new face in the lineup. Brian Gill returning to motorsport after a few years away, driving Andrew Malalou's Fiesta R5. Each driver had 3 practice runs, matched against a different opponent each time, with Mark Maloney's 7.585 seconds the fastest time, and everyone within 6/10 of that. In the qualification runs, Gill, Stuart Maloney, and Rob Swan jumped the lights so had their times disallowed. Roger Hill, now the fastest, from Paul Horton, Mark Maloney, and Jeff Panton. All then progressed to the knockout, seeded fastest against slowest for each round, with the winners going on to the semi-finals. Despite winning through, Horton did not run again, giving Hill a bye into the final, which was against Mark Maloney, as his brother Stuart had jumped the lights in their semi-final. The remaining positions were decided by each driver's best time. Mark Maloney would take maximum points for round number 4, really shifting up the points totals of the R5 Championship.
Round 5 saw another welcome return to road rallying for the R5 Championship, another doubleheader event on yet another highly popular stage, Wilson Hill to Malvern. This event, hosted by the Barbados Rally Club, saw a massive entry list of over 40 crews, and for the R5 Championship, would be the first time the drivers had their co-drivers sitting alongside for the year. The other major key at this event was that the championship was scoring it on an overall cumulative time rather than fastest run in each direction. Strategy would definitely come into play, and perhaps a bit of pressure on the crews to come out the gate with high levels of commitment. Championship leader Stuart Maloney was fastest on the opening stage, 1.8 seconds ahead of Rob Swan, with Jeff Panton another second or so back thanks to a puncture on his Fiesta. While Maloney would not be topped in the first direction, Swan and Panton enjoyed equal shares at second and third places over the 4 stages to sit in those positions after the lunch break. Mark Maloney was 4th, newcomer Brian Gill 5th, Paul Horton 6th with triple rally championship, Matt Edwards co-driving in his Fiesta, and Roger Hill 7th after losing a lot of time on the day's opening stage thanks to a misfire. In the reverse direction, Stuart Maloney would remain unbeaten while his brother Mark came into his own, second 3 times to beat Swan by more than 2 seconds, but not enough to dislodge the British driver from second at the end of the day, moving him from 5th to 3rd in the overall standings. Hill was 4th in the afternoon, finishing the day in that position, with Horton 5th, Panton 6th, after losing 30 seconds or so with a massive spin on the afternoon's opening stage. And Brian Gill 7th, another to lose a lot of time on that first stage.
So here are the point standings as we close out the first 5 rounds of the R5 Championship. Stuart Maloney has a commanding 43-point lead over second place runner Jeff Panton, with Roger Hill and Rob Swan currently tied in 3rd, and Mark Maloney only 1 point behind them. The close battles will certainly continue into the coming rounds. Paul Horton sits in 5th, Saul Youssef in 6th, Andrew Malalou in 7th, Brian Gill in 8th, and Stan Hartling sitting 9th overall.
Flat right, into flat left 5, stay out, flat left 3.
Next, the R5 Championship kicks off round 6 at the First Citizens King of the Hill event on May 29th. That will run on a 4.5 kilometer course from Content via Fortress Hill and Dukes to finish at the Vaucluse Raceway in St. Thomas. Round 7 and the championship's largest point scoring opportunity takes place the weekend after at the flagship event of Rally Barbados. Be sure to stay locked into the R5 Championship presented by First Citizens Bank. for more insights and behind the scenes action. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. We'll see you on the road.